Bonjour. So I just want to clarify something for you. So the preposition à et de. These are tiny little words, yeah, but they're not insignificant words. A lot of people get tripped up with these right at the beginning, just as you're starting to learn about subjects and verbs and how to link those things together with other words to form larger sentences. And oftentimes, these little prepositions get in the way. So let's have a look at them. À and de sometimes contract with the definite article. So that's what we're talking about in this video. So there are three forms, remember, of the definite article. That's le, la, and les. Le and la, the singular forms, masculine and feminine, contract to l'apostrophe if your noun starts with a vowel or a silent H. Some examples there, masculine, le cahier, but you get l'ami and l'homme because of the vowel, because of the silent H, right? Remember to pronounce that as all one word, l'ami, l'homme. There's no pause between the article and the noun anymore. L'ami, l'homme. Feminine, la fenêtre, l'ami, l'hôtesse, right? Remember, again, pronounce that as all one word, l'ami, l'hôtesse. That's why we went through the trouble of getting rid of that A and putting an apostrophe there. It's all one word now. And plural, les devoirs, les étudiants, les hôtels. Don't forget to do liaison if your noun is plural and starts with a vowel or a silent H. Les étudiants, les hôtels. All right? À, first of all, have a look at that one. Usually means to or at or in. You've seen it in places like this when you want to say where you live. J'habite à Houston with a city. Je parle à Anne, the verb parler. When you talk to somebody, takes an indirect object person. À plus a person usually is a sign of an indirect object in French. Je parle à Anne. Both of those are proper nouns, by the way. Notice à Houston, à Anne. Sometimes à is going to contract when it comes in contact with certain articles. When it does, those words go away. A new word replaces them. So à and le. If you have à and le coming together, they're going to go away. They make a new word, and that's oh. When you have à and la coming together, nothing happens. No change. À la. When you have à and l'apostrophe coming together, no change. They stay the same. À l'apostrophe. But à and les, just like the masculine singular, will change. This one's going to be au, aux. All right? So some examples then. L'étudiant parle au professeur. So we still have an indirect object person, but this time it's not a proper noun. It's a common noun. Remember, you have to use articles in French. So, à and le come together, they go away and they make au. Les livres sont à la bibliothèque. No contraction happens there, stays the same. Le prof parle à l'étudiant. No contraction there, stays the same. Il donne le livre aux étudiants. That's à les come together, they go away, they make aux. Aux étudiants. Notice, by the way, with aux, you do liaison, you make a Z sound, aux étudiants. The other one we're talking about is de. De usually means of or from. For example, je suis de Houston. If you're from a certain city, je suis de Houston, proper noun city. Où est le livre de Marc? That's another way to use de, is to show possession, ownership. That's Marc's book. There's no apostrophe S in French, so you have to say the book of Marc, right? Le livre de Marc, all right? So that's a use of de that you've already seen. Well, de is going to contract also, so when de and le come together, they go away, they make a new word, it's du. Notice that pronunciation difference. De is the first word on your screen there, but du is the contracted version, du. De, du. De la, stay the same, no change. De l'apostrophe, stay the same, no change. De and les come together, they go away. The new word that replaces them is des. So, some examples there. C'est le livre du professeur. It's the professor's book. No apostrophe S in French, so you have to say the book of the professor. Le livre du professeur. J'écoute de la musique classique. J'écoute de la musique classique. De la don't change. Voilà les devoirs de l'étudiant. De l'étudiant. De l'apostrophe doesn't change. Il parle des enfants de sa sœur. He's talking about his sister's kids, right? Il parle des enfants de sa sœur. That's de and les coming together, going away, making a new word, and it's des. Don't forget your liaison. Des enfants. All right? Another use of à and de is with the verb jouer. So jouer means to play, but when you change the preposition, you change the meaning of the verb a little bit, right? So jouer à with a sport or a game, jouer de with a musical instrument, all right? For example, a few sports, je joue au football. So now you know football is masculine singular. It's le football. Je joue au basket. Je joue au baseball. Je joue au tennis. Je joue à la pétanque, etc. All right? So depending on the gender and the number of the noun of the sport, you're going to have a different form of à. With games, some examples there. Je joue aux échecs, aux cartes. Je joue au poker, aux dames, À la marelle, that's hopscotch. À cache-cache, hide and seek, etc. Okay? So again, depending on the gender and the number of the noun, if you're playing that thing, whether it's a sport or a game, it's going to be à plus something, and you might have a contraction, like O-A-U or O-A-U-X. All right. De happens with musical instruments. So jouer de plus a musical instrument. For example, je joue de la guitare, je joue de la trompette, je joue de la batterie, du piano, de la flûte, de la clarinette, du violon, du banjo, de l'accordéon, etc. Right? So jouer à, last slide, with sports and games. Jouer de with musical instruments. All right? The gender and the number of the musical instrument will determine whether or not you have a contraction. Du violon is a contraction. So, à and de with articles in geographical place names. That happens in Chapter 3 of Français Interactif. So, you're going to be recycling a lot of this information in Chapter 3. A lot of place names like states or regions, countries, continents, they all have an article with them, right? So, le Texas, le Pérou, l'Europe, right? So, that article might go away when the sentence calls for a preposition. So if you're not just talking about France, like La France est belle, you might want to say I am in France, right? That's a preposition. So when the sentence calls for a preposition, the article might go away. So review à in all of its forms, review de in all of its forms. Usually with regards to geographical place names, à in its forms or for destination. You're going to it, right? Or you're at it, or you're in it. And de in all of its forms, you're talking about coming from it, or you are from it, origin, right? So be sure to watch the end of my video, my intro video on Chapter 3 for more information about prepositions and geographical place names. I hope this clears up some confusion for you. Merci. Au revoir.